Welcome to Sports Guy Talking. I am Dustin Tran, as I am here today to talk about Frank Reich, my man, being hired by the Carolina Panthers. Despite the fact that interim head coach Steve Wilks went 6-6 during his tenure, he was passed up in favor of Frank Reich. This is the first true offensive-minded head coach that the Carolina Panthers have hired in franchise history. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So, here it is. What is my reaction to the Panthers hiring Frank Reich? And I will have to admit this was not my initial option when I was thinking about who the Carolina Panthers should hire. I was thinking about guys like possibly Sean Payton, although we would have to give him a lot. I was thinking about the interim head coach Steve Wilks, who did a pretty good job as the interim coach of the Carolina Panthers. I was thinking about the Eagles offensive coordinator potentially getting this job. I was thinking about Ken Dorsey getting it as well. But Frank Reich, I'm not surprised by it, but I'm kind of surprised with how this process played out. I'm sure a lot of people in the national media are surprised with this. You know why they're surprised with it? Because he was not a name that was really reported on the Panthers' radar a whole lot, alright? But this is now a reunion for Frank Reich and the Carolina Panthers. And Frank Reich, he was the first quarterback for the Carolina Panthers to ever take a snap in the franchise's short history, so that's kind of pretty impressive. You get to be a head coach of that franchise and you got to be a former quarterback for them, so that has to count for something, I suppose. And Frank Reich's daughter does work for the Carolina Panthers. She got hired there a couple weeks ago, and Frank Reich, he's got a brother. His brother's Joe. He's a coach at a Division II school. I actually work with them. Well, not work with them, but I work for him, basically. Not directly, but I'm basically a helper on the team. I just watch the film, help out with the filming practices, and he's the head coach for that school, so I just kind of wanted to know something about that. So I know Frank Reich's family just a little bit. I'm not that close with them, but I know with them enough to know their kind of tendencies. And what I will say is, for the people that are complaining that we are losing our great leadership, don't worry about it, because Frank Reich is a tremendous leader of men. This guy is going to get the players' respect. Players like him. He's demanding, but he's well respected, and he's a player's coach. He's friendly with them, but he knows when to push them hard. And that's really what you need in terms of being a player's coach to get behind with, and that's exactly what Frank Reich provides with. And also, if you think about what the Carolina Panthers needed, what did the Carolina Panthers need more of? They needed an offensive-minded coach more than a defensive-minded coach. The defense of the Carolina Panthers is pretty good. I mean, they got Brian Burns, Jeremy Chin, J.C. Horn, Dante Jackson when healthy, Derek Brown, Shaq Thompson, Frankie Louvu. They already got dogs on the defensive side of the ball. The defense is good. I mean, they even look pretty good under Phil Snow and Matt Rule, so if they can look good under that unit, I'm sure they'll be just fine without them. Okay, so you look at it from that perspective. And then you look at what the offense has. They have a lot of question marks. Now, Frank Reich, I'm not going to say he's the second coming of Kyle Shanahan. He's not. He's a 61-year-old head coach. He's probably only going to be coaching football 5 to 7 more years anyway. But you know what? That's how long most coaches last on one team. Anyways, when you look at what Frank Reich does, he gets the most out of his quarterbacks more often than not. He gets the most out of offenses. You look at what he did on the Colts. Everybody keeps perpetuating this narrative that the Indianapolis Colts, it was Frank Reich that was the reason why they went quarterback carousel. But I don't necessarily agree that that's how it played out, because you look at how he got hired on the Colts. Okay, he was hired there to fix Andrew Luck, and that's exactly what he did. Not only did he fix Andrew Luck, he got Andrew Luck to play some of his best football. That's why Andrew Luck won Comeback Player of the Year in 2018, because Andrew Luck was so amazing for the Indianapolis Colts. And you know who played a huge hand in that? Frank Reich. Frank Reich is a quarterback whisperer. He's a quarterback developer, okay? So he got Andrew Luck to do that, and then all of a sudden, Andrew Luck retired on him basically a couple of weeks before the season started. He retired basically in the middle of the preseason. At that point, if you're the Colts, what are you supposed to do? You can't just go sign a quarterback off the street, and you can't just tank, okay? So they had to start the backup Jacoby Brissett. So he took a career backup Jacoby Brissett to 7 wins, which is something that Jacoby Brissett has never done in his NFL career. So I was thinking he did a good job with Jacoby Brissett, but he knew that Jacoby Brissett was a limited passer. He knew Jacoby Brissett wasn't good enough. So you know what he did? He told the team, you know what, go out there, go sign Phillip Rivers. Now, Phillip Rivers at the time, when the Indianapolis Colts signed him, most people thought that Phillip Rivers was washed and that he was no longer a good player. And you know what Frank Reich did with him? Not only did he turn Phillip Rivers into a good quarterback, the Colts made the playoffs with Phillip Rivers leading the way for the Indianapolis Colts. He got Philip Rivers to play some of his most efficient football that he's ever played in his career, and I thought he did a tremendous job with Philip Rivers getting the Colts to 11-5. The only reason why he lost in the wild card round was because they ran into an offensive juggernaut with the Buffalo Bills. I mean, look, the Indianapolis Colts were unlucky that year. They got the 7th seed despite an 11-5 record, and they had to go up against 2-seed Buffalo Bills at Bills Mafia, and you know what happened? They nearly pulled off the upset. I know ultimately they didn't, but that's a tough place to win in there. I know the Bengals just did it, but it doesn't happen very often. So when you look at it from that perspective, what Frank Reich did was pretty good. Then I know the last 2 years, I know that's where a lot of people have concerns with Frank Reich, but I'll tell you, that 2021 season where the Colts underachieved, that was not Frank Reich's fault. That was Carson Wentz's fault. The Colts that year had a lot of Pro Bowlers on their roster. No quarterback sold the game in Week 18 by sucking the life out of the Colts against the Jacksonville Jaguars, as far as I'm concerned. As far as what I know about Carson Wentz, he should not be a starting quarterback, maybe not even a backup quarterback in the NFL anymore. After seeing him get outperformed by his fellow quarterbacks in Washington, I'm not sure whether Carson Wentz should deserve a job in the NFL or not. All right, so when you look at it from that perspective, the fact that Frank Reich got Carson Wentz to throw 27 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions, got him to win 9 games, that's actually pretty impressive when you think about it. And as for this year, okay, I'm going to count this year as a mulligan. 3-5-1. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He didn't do his best job coaching. He's had better years coaching. But to be fair to him, he didn't have a true number 1 wide receiver. He had a running back that was injured quite often, and he had a quarterback who probably should have retired after last year because he fell off a cliff pretty bad. So when you look at it from that perspective, the quarterback carousel was not head coach inflicted. Not like Matt Rule for the Carolina Panthers, where one offseason you signed Teddy Bridgewater to $63 million over 3 years. Then after 1 year, you say, you know what? I don't like this Teddy guy anymore. He keeps calling me out. So let me go ahead and trade 3 draft picks for freaking Sam Darnold, give him the 5th-year option, and then, when that doesn't work, let me just go ahead and take a project with Baker Mayfield. And while we're at it, take a 3rd-round pick with Matt Corral, and you're keeping P.J. Walker around because he went to Temple. Now, can P.J. Walker play? Yeah, he can play as a backup, but that's not why Matt Rule picked him up. He picked him up because he went to Temple. It's as simple as that. So when you look at the quarterback carousel, everybody keeps saying that Reich and Rule, they have similar parallels. No, it's not similar parallels at all. When Matt Rule did it, it was self-inflicted. Under Frank Reich, it was just a lot of unfortunate circumstances. Sure, the Colts GM, Chris Ballard, had handled it better. Sure, but that's hindsight is 2020. I mean, signing Philip Rivers did work out for the Colts. They made the playoffs as a result, and as for Carson Wentz, well, Carson Wentz previously had success with Frank Reich, which is really a testament to what Frank Reich can do, because Frank Reich gets the most out of his quarterbacks. And as for the Matt Ryan thing, yeah, I gotta admit that didn't necessarily work out, but it was a good gamble to take. It was only a 3rd-round pick, and Matt Ryan was still solid just a season ago. He only became garbage this year. So when you look at it from that perspective, Frank Reich, he knows how to get the most out of quarterbacks. He knows how to get the most out of offenses. It's not like he was exactly working with the superstar type of offense with the Indianapolis Colts. Now, when you look at the NFC South for the foreseeable future, it's really only too deep. The Bucs are going to suck without Tom Brady. The New Orleans Saints will continue to underachieve with Dennis Allen as their head coach. So that means it's either the Panthers or the Falcons that are going to win the NFC South in 2023. I see this being a 2-team race. I like the chances that the Panthers have. This hiring of Frank Reich, it screams safe hire. It's not a sexy hire, but you know what? The last time the Panthers went with the sexy hire and Matt Rule, it worked out disastrously. So the fact that we're going safe hire, I got to feel pretty good about that. I like that Frank Reich is working for the Carolina Panthers. He's close to his family. Frank Reich can fix up the offense, and he could lead this Panthers team to an NFC South division title and their first playoff appearance for the first time since 2017. So that is why the Panthers hiring Frank Reich to be their new head coach was absolutely a good move. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, make sure you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @DustinTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinTran and @Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video. Comment down below. Check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.